Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Worm's Eye View. I'm Pippa. I'm going to do a book review video today. I haven't done one probably for about 3 weeks because we went away for a week and then this week's all been up in the air with family situations, so I've not actually done as much reading as I'd like to do, and I've also not done a review for a good couple of weeks. So I'm going to go through the couple of things. In fact, I've actually lost track of where I was. I probably should have watched the video, my last video, to see what I was reading back then, but I'm unorganised and I didn't do that. So I'm going to go through some things that I definitely know I've read and tell you a bit about the books that I've been reading over the last couple of weeks. Okay, so this book is Little Monsters. I really enjoyed this one. This one was sent to me by a lovely YouTuber. She does all sorts of different videos, from hauls to day in the life, you know, sort of all different bits and bobs, but she's a real bookworm, and we did a bit of a book swap. So she has sent me Little Monsters, and I really enjoyed this book. I didn't know until like the last minute, like I was going through it, like, could it be this, could this have happened, did that person do it, did this, you know, it's a real like whodunit type book, and it took me a long time to kind of, like, I kept changing my mind. I kept thinking, oh, that person, oh, that person. So the twist was not obvious, and I think that's a sign of some good writing if you can get to the end of a mystery book and not have worked it out. So I'll just tell you a little bit about the book. It says, Casey is the new girl in Broken Falls. When she moved in with her father, she stepped into a brand new life, a life with a stepbrother, stepmother, and strangest of all, an adoring younger half-sister. Casey's new life is eerily charming compared with the wild highs and lows of the one that she left behind with her volatile mother. And everyone is so nice in Broken Falls. She has been welcomed into a tight new circle of friends. Bailey and Jade invite her to do everything with them, which is why it's so odd when they start acting distant and when they don't invite her to the biggest party of the year. It doesn't exactly feel like an accident. But Casey will never be able to ask because Bailey never makes it home from that party, and suddenly Broken Falls doesn't seem so welcoming after all. Especially once everyone starts looking to the new girl for answers. Casey's about to learn some very important lessons. Sometimes appearances can be deceiving. Sometimes when you're the new girl, you shouldn't trust anyone. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this book. Definitely recommend this book. It's an easy read. Older teens would probably enjoy it. Young adults would enjoy it. I mean, I'm nearly 41 and I enjoyed it. So I reckon it will cover a huge range of people, and it's a real gripping book. It definitely had me wanting to pick it up and find out what was going to happen next. So I enjoyed that one. The next one I read was this one, What the Nanny Saw, and this is by Fiona Neill, and it says here, nanny required to take care of a busy professional London family. When penniless student Ali Sparrow answers Bryony and Nick Skinner's advertisement, her life changes overnight. She's catapulted into a privileged and excessive world of London's financial elite. At first, everything is overwhelming, from twins who speak their own language to a teenage girl with weight issues and a son almost Ali's own age. Then there's Bryony, who has one eye on her dazzling career and the other on Ali's failings. When boom turns to bust and a scandal erupts that suggests something corrupt has been hatched behind the Skinners' front door, their private life is suddenly public news. And as Ali becomes indispensable, she realises she has witnessed to things she probably shouldn't have seen. But is she principled enough to keep the family's secrets when the press come prowling for the inside scoop? Or will she dish the dirt on a family that never saw as anything other than part of the scenery? So I had an amazing nanny job when I came out of college. I trained to be an NNEB nanny, and met a fantastic family, and had a 6-month-old daughter, and they were amazing, and I was part of their family, and I felt absolutely part of their family through troubles they had, through a marriage separation, all sorts of things, and they made me feel part of the family, and I will always be super grateful for that. You know, my life did become, you know, I couldn't really do an awful lot. I tried to do various things like piano lessons and stuff, but I could never guarantee I could leave work on time, and I didn't mind that. That was part of my life at the time. Obviously, when I had my own children, we came to the conclusion that it wasn't going to work. The very long hours I was doing and having my own baby, and obviously for Lee to be able to see anything of Brendan when he was a baby, I would have needed better hours. From that point on, nannying wasn't going to work for me. I did try with another family, and I never felt good enough as either a nanny or a mother. I was always felt like I was compromising one or the other, and in the end, being a mother was more important to me. So I set up my childminding. So I come from a nannying background, and I love books about nannies. Like I said, I was very lucky. My experience of being a nanny was a long-term thing with an amazing family, and they did treat me like family. So I've been very lucky and very privileged, but I've witnessed so many friends and met so many nannies who haven't had that story, who feel like family up until something doesn't go quite the way the family want, and then, you know, they are staff and it's off you go, new nanny in because they can meet the needs that you can't, or, you know, for whatever the reason. And I hope this book would not show that side of things. I was hoping it was going to show a nicer side, that she was actually part of the family. And I read this book for hours on end. I sat up till 2 in the morning to finish this book when we came back off holiday. And I'll be honest, I was disappointed with the ending. I loved the book, I loved the story, but the ending disappointed me. Without wanting to ruin it for you, but then to be honest, when I read it, like I said, the ending upset me. She is really just staff at the end. You know, whether, you know, what she does with that, you know, you'll find out if you read it. But yeah, really, she is just staff. And there were times in there when I felt sorry for her, the way she was being overlooked by the family, where times when she should have been made to feel more comfortable, more welcome, and she wasn't. You know, she was kind of dismissed. But that was kind of the family setup. You know, they were, you know, they'd got housekeeper and various other people that do things for them. So that's just the way it was, I guess. So yeah, I did enjoy this book. I did enjoy the story. There's a lot of information about the financial world, which I didn't know, and investment banking. So I know a little bit more about that than I did before I read the book, because it sets up the story. But yeah, I was disappointed with the ending. So the next book I then read was this, The Chalk Man by C.J. Tudor. And again, this one was one that was recommended by Minx Laura 123 on her channel. And she was doing a giveaway, and unfortunately I wasn't lucky enough to win it, but then I saw it in a charity shop and was like, right, that's meant to be, I need to read it. It says here, if I could read you the blurb. None of us agreed on the exact beginning. Was it when we started drawing the chalk figures, or when they started to appear on their own? Was it the terrible accident, or when they found the first body? So, it was a really good book. It didn't take me very long to read. It's about, it kind of jumps from now to childhood. It reminds me a little bit about if you were watching Stranger Things, you know, that kind of, you can picture that kind of era with those kids and the life that kids had back in the 80s. Kind of the innocence of things that, you know, we didn't have the internet and all the rest of it, things we used to get up to. So I could relate to the childhood, although on this particular one summer, when they find a body and various other things happen, that certainly never happened in my childhood, thank God. But it's a little bit of that era. So if you enjoy things like Stranger Things, the Netflix show, if you enjoy things like the movies Stand By Me and Goonies and that kind of 80s childhood type thing, then you'll enjoy this, because it dips into that, and then it dips into those characters as adults as well. There's lots going on. You kind of have ideas about what you think might be happening and what's not happening. Trying to work out, is it supernatural, is it not supernatural? It took me a while to kind of, you know, I never knew if there's going to be some kind of supernatural element to this book or not. and there's just something that happens at the end which part of me had suspected, but I didn't think it was possible. But literally in the last couple of pages something happens and you're just like, ooh. So yes, yeah, it says, what a great book, a twisty thriller and downright creepy ending, which is, yeah, covers it, downright creepy ending. So definitely recommend that book. Then another book which I picked up last week on holiday, not the week just gone, the week previous, on holiday, which I think I showed you on my book haul that I did when I came back off holiday. So this is called The Girl on the Train, and it's by Paula Hawkins. And again, this is another one I ploughed through in just a couple of days. It's a very good book. I didn't know what I expect. The girl sees something. If I read you, that'll be easier if I read it to you what it says. So, every day the same. Rachel catches the same commuter train every morning. She knows it will wait at the same signal each time, overlooking a row of back gardens. She's even started to feel like she knows the people who live in one of the houses. Jess and Jason, she calls them. Their life as she sees it is perfect. If only Rachel could be that happy. Until today. And then she sees something shocking. It's only a minute until the train moves on, but it's enough. Now everything's changed. Now Rachel has a chance to become part of their lives. She's only watched from afar. Now she'll see. Now they will see she's so much more than just the girl on the train. So I was like, what did they see? Someone digging a grave, or something like that. I didn't like the main character to start with. She's an alcoholic. She was making stupid decisions. I would get angry with her and just think, well, why would you do? Nobody would do that. It's the reason I don't watch EastEnders and Coronation Street. It's like, you wouldn't do that in real life. And I know it's just a book, but it kind of wound me up a little bit. But then, as the book went on, she was still doing things that wound me up. But I think that was the intention, actually, of the writer. And it built up her story. And why she drank so much and what led her to drinking so much and how it ties in with other characters in the book. And yeah, it takes you on a journey you didn't think would happen. I mean, I would never have worked out what was going on. At one part of the story, I did kind of the bit, I don't want to give things away, but the bit that ties everything together, I'd kind of guessed on. And I kind of thought, I wonder if that's what's happening here. I wonder if that's what's going on, and that will have some kind of connection as to why this has happened. But they kind of draw you into looking at other characters in the book and being sort of more suspicious about other people. So, yeah, it's very well written and very enjoyable. A very easy read. If you can get past the fact that the main character drives you crazy. And maybe it's that I don't have an awful lot of experience with alcoholics, so maybe I'm just not understanding it, and I think I have probably a better idea now about why alcoholics do what they do, and how they are drawn to alcohol to solve their problems, and then the problems that escalate because they've been drinking. So yeah, it's a really interesting read, and I would definitely recommend this one. Now, there were 2 of these in the charity shop when I went, so I think they're probably quite easily available. Definitely get it. And then I started on this one, which I thought sounded really good. It says, a mysterious epidemic has struck and the speech of children has become toxic. As the neighbourhood crumbles around them, Sam and his wife, Claire, are forced to make a terrible decision. Do they abandon their teenage daughter and flee to the quarantine centre, or do they stay with her and waste away from her malevolent speech? Now, it had really good raves on the background, on the back page, lots of good reviews. It said it was funny and scary and all outstanding. It's called The Flame Alphabet, a novel by Ben Marcus. Now, I've never read any of his stuff before. And I thought I would really enjoy it. Now, admittedly, I only got in 27 pages, but his style of writing isn't for me. I like a book I can read, enjoy, and not have to really, really concentrate on. If I want a book that I really have to concentrate on, I will read non-fiction, and I do read non-fiction, because when it's like facts and things like that, you have to understand it fully. So if it's a non-fiction book and I have a couple of those that I have been reading on my Kindle, then I'm all for that. But if I pick up a fiction book, I want to pick up a fiction book and I want to find it easy to read and I want to enjoy it. So I got 27 pages into this last night and I just couldn't go on anymore. The way he writes is not easy, I don't feel. I don't feel he writes in an easy way to read. It's too taxing. I'm having to reread sentences to make sense of them because of the words he's used or the way he structured a sentence. It reminds me a bit, not to the same degree, because obviously, but when I've read any Dickens books, you have to sit down and think about Old English and the way the language is going to be used and the way words are going to be used, and so you have to get yourself into a mindset, and once you've started reading it and you get your head around it, then it's easier to read. That's how I see this, but obviously not with Old English, not sort of Dickens style. It's just a different way of writing that I'm not really finding enjoyable to work through. And a book shouldn't be hard work. So this is going to go back to the charity shop, unfortunately, unread by me. But maybe somebody else will enjoy his style. I mean, like I said, it's got great reviews. So this isn't one I would recommend unless you're into something a bit more hard going. What I am reading now is this, and this is very light-hearted. Again, it's set... I don't think this is actually a young adult book, but it's written easily like a young adult book, sort of... Oh no, it does. Yeah, no, it does say it's a young adult book. Okay, so it is a young adult. It's written like a young adult book. It's nice and easy, nothing too heavy, and it's based on relationships between sort of 17, 18-year-old girls, 16, 17-year-old girls. So, as I have once been a 16-year-old girl, with different friendship groups, I could probably relate to this from, my childhood. It says that Caddy and Rosie have always been inseparable, but that was before Suzanne. Now Caddy wants to be more than just the quiet one. She wants something to happen. I was brave. Suzanne is trying to escape her past and be something different, someone free. She was reckless. But sometimes downward spirals have a momentum of their own. We were trouble, and no one can break your heart like your best friend. A beautiful tale of the power and complexities of female friendships. And it had various reviews from various people that were saying that it's, it kind of takes apart female friendships and female relationships in a not, that don't involve any kind of romance. And it's not often you get a book that deals with sort of the complexities of female relationships in that way. So that's what drew me to it. And I think it is that whole three's a crowd, got new girls come into the situation. So the main person, Caddy, in this story goes to a private school. She's got a best friend that she's had since she was tiny, and her best friend goes to the public school down the road, and this new girl, Suzanne, starts the same school as her friend Rosie. And so suddenly two have become three, and is finding their places in their friendship groups. Obviously Rosie and Caddy have the history, they know each other, they understand each other. And they know there's no secrets between them, but obviously Suzanne comes in and there's sort of mysterious things around her that they don't, that Caddy wants to get to the bottom of, because I guess she feels she's a bit of a threat to the friendship that she has with Rosie. So yeah, this will be done and dusted in a couple of days, I think. I'll probably read a good chunk of this in a minute with a cup of tea, and then I'll probably finish it tomorrow. So this isn't going to be any hard going read, but I am enjoying it. So this is Beautiful Broken Things by Sarah Bernard, or Bernard, however it's pronounced. And I'm enjoying that at the moment. So definitely worth looking at if you find it. Okay, that's it for now. I'm going to pass on those books that I've read to a local charity. So what I do is I hand those books over either to a charity shop so that they can make money on them again, or I give them to my sister-in-law's mother, who puts them into a local village church bookshop, and then that raises money for the village church. So yeah, when I've finished a book, I like to get them out of the house for someone else to enjoy, and hopefully bring some funds to a good cause. I have got a drawer under my bed that has about 10 books, if not a few more in there, that I want to read. So I deliberately this weekend, when I went into charity shops, avoided going anywhere near the books, because I just can't trust myself not to buy more. So I'm going to read through those ones, and then I can go on another buying spree for books. If you like my book hauls and you like my book reviews, please subscribe and check out my playlists. And if you enjoy anything to do with children, early years, play ideas, play activities, that kind of thing, then check out my playlist on early years. And also, if you enjoy things like shopping hauls and that kind of thing, mystery box unboxings, then I do a few of those as well. So yeah, any of that sounds interesting, just press subscribe and you'll be notified of any new videos I put up. Okay, have a good weekend. Bye.